Hello, it's Jill. Welcome once again to my channel, Let's Reconnect. And today we're going to reconnect with one another and with the world in prayer. And prayer might be something that you don't really feel comfortable with ordinarily, and yet in these times we are being called to prayer, whatever our belief system or lack of it. We are being called to come together to pray. And so if, like me, you no longer believe in an interventionist God, as Nick Cave would say, and don't feel comfortable with praying to a God out there to ask to intervene and help, but yet you also know that there is something essential about prayer that is powerful, then you might be interested in this method that I'm going to share with you. So I'm going to entitle the video How to Pray, probably how to pray for Ukraine, because at the time of recording this is what's on all our minds, and using the extended I am awareness. So the first thing we'll do is talk about what we mean by the I am awareness, and then we'll actually go into a kind of meditation where I'll lead you in the method to use. Okay? So first of all, I am. When I say I am, I might say I am Jill, I might say I am a mother, I am a teacher, and use some sort of quality at the end to qualify what the I am statement is. I might say it by means of or reference to an emotion that I'm feeling. I am happy, I am sad, I am anxious, I am excited. Okay, so I'd like you now to think of 5 things that you could say, 5 statements. I am. Maybe they're to do with your name and your status or relationship or your work, or to do with how you're feeling. So 5 I am statements that refer to you. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to drop the qualifying statements off the end of that phrase and just come back to the I am. And I want you to think about who the I am is. Who is the I to which you refer? In particular, where is that I located? Where would you find them? Where would I find them? Now you've probably indicated your body in some way. I would imagine you've said here. You might have said here. I doubt you've said your little toe, but it's going to be probably the core of your body somewhere. And so I'm going to invite you to use visualization to actually see the letter I in that part of your body that is like the trunk of your body. So we could say that you have the cross section of the eye, and then you're going to bring your pen down, and then the bottom of the eye is around here where your trunk ends. Okay? That would be the spine, and I suppose it would be the chakra system, wouldn't it? The alignment of the energy centers. So this helps us in this process to identify the I. And we're really talking about the I of consciousness. And of course, consciousness cannot be located. So if you were to take this part of my body and to cut it open, then all you would find would be sinews and cells and tissues and a lot of blood. But you wouldn't be able to find the I. You wouldn't be able to find the consciousness. Now that's because consciousness cannot be limited to one place. It's not restricted to space or time. This is something I'm so aware of as I have been a Reconnective Healing practitioner. People watch my videos, and when I do Reconnective Healing, I simply receive. I simply activate the frequencies and receive. And they'll watch my videos 2, 3, 4 years later and leave a comment and say, that was amazing, I really felt the tingles. So what is happening there? I'm not even sending healing to anybody else. I'm simply receiving it. And that for me is a wonderful sort of confirmation or illustration of the oneness, that there is only one being. In fact, it's a bold statement to say, but it is true to say, there is only one being on this planet. We really are one consciousness. And so what this means is that we are able to use our conscious mind to tweak reality, okay, to decide and choose and use our free will to do that. And this is really what this process is. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is to extend this I that you've visualized, that you've located simply to this person, this flesh suit, this personality and this ego identity that is you. And to extend it higher above your head and lower beneath your feet. It helps if you're sitting so that your feet are touching the ground when you do this exercise. And maybe let it go 3 feet, 4 feet, maybe up to 6 feet higher in your imagination. And then onto that image, I'm going to suggest that there are layers of being. So the being that you are most aware of in your daily life is the conscious mind. And then below the conscious mind, in that illustration below your feet, is the subconscious. And that is really a collection of patterns and programming that we share with the human race. Not only people that are alive now on the planet, but all the people that have ever lived. Okay? And then up above your head, if you like, this is only a model. This isn't real. This is just a model, because in reality there is no space and time. But above your head you have the superconscious, what some people might call the higher self. And that is your expanded consciousness that is able to connect with angelic realms. And, of course, to be open to inspiration from the divine. But think of this as one continual being. There is no separation in that I, okay? It's all I. And depending upon where we choose to put our awareness through our conscious focus, we can change the reality that we experience and that manifests. So I'm going to suggest now, this is a kind of merging of a method that I heard from Cash Peters. I follow his channel. I've spoken about him before, and if you don't know him, you might want to check him out. Cash Peters is his name, and I enjoy watching him. And he was talking about prayer recently, in particular in relation to Ukraine, the war that's happening there. And he was suggesting this method that he has learned from Christian Science, I think he said. And when he was explaining it, it reminded me of a method that I'd used only about a month or so ago when we had the storms coming. Maybe I'll talk about that another time, but there was something very similar that I did. And so in this method, you don't pray for another person. You don't pray for them, but you actually go into your eye of awareness. You take your focus to the eye of being, in the knowing that this eye is the ground of all being. It's the same eye in me as in you, as in all the 7 point whatever it is billion people on the planet. And not only the people, the plants, the animals, the fabric, the very earth itself, in fact everything in existence, which really blows my mind, but I'm starting to get used to it, because it's a paradigm shift to move from the material model of reality to the consciousness model, and that's what we're doing. And we're finding the power when we do that. We discover this power we never knew we had. So let's suppose we're going to pray now for President Zelensky. What we do is we go into the eye, and then we visualize him, how we see him. We might have a photograph of him, we might have a picture on our phone in front of us, but just bring him in your mind's eye. And then, as it were, step out of your own body and into his body. Now, when I was just reminded when I said that this is something that we do every night when we dream. It's said that this silver cord that's attached to us, isn't it? This silver thread that leaves when we die, but is with us all the time, and that's what goes astrally travelling when we dream. So we're really just changing our point of awareness through our intention. Step into his body in your mind. You might have even noticed a shift when I said that. You might have even sensed his emotions if you're a very sensitive or empathic person. But then, with your own conscious awareness, flood the field around him with light and love. Flood the field around him with light and love. And we're going to use the breath, because the breath is the spirit. In the Bible, the word breath, ruach, is the word for spirit. Okay? And I'm going to just read. It's come to my mind to read. I found something when I was just thinking about what I wanted to say. I just want to read this to you from Ephesians, a prayer for the Ephesians, and it says, "For this reason I pray before the Father in heaven, from whom the whole family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being." Strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being. And so we're going to do that. The Spirit is the breath. And we're going to breathe love and light and power and courage and confidence and faith into that aura, into the field that surrounds this man. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to do that with me now. So just take 7 breaths, and as you breathe out, imagine this aura, this field, filling with light that brightens and extends with every breath, creating, as it were, a force field around. Remember, the meaning of angels is force field. It's a field of energy and light and information. Okay, so let's do that together now. So that was a sequence of 7, and it came to my mind to suggest 7. I think there's a significance to that number. Some of you might be able to tell me in the comments who know your numerology. I think it's an angelic number. But that's how we strengthen the president in his inner being through the spirit. And people in such circumstances really say that they felt the prayers of other people. They had an unnatural amount of confidence, peace, and courage in the face of adversity. So I commend you to use that method. We can do a similar thing for a place. So if we're thinking of a particular place on the map, maybe a particular city, okay, you could take the country of Ukraine as a whole, or you could focus right on Kyiv. You could hold the map in front of you on your phone, look at a picture so you can visualize it. And then step into the I amness of that place. Every place has its own energy. You know what you will find? What you will find as you do this is that you might even hear, it sounds crazy, but you might even hear a place talking to you, telling you something. Okay, so as I invite you now to just step into Ukraine in your imagination. What is it saying to you? And then use that focal point of awareness. What you're actually doing is anchoring. I love that word, anchoring consciousness. So this I that we see here, that is anchoring us, that anchors us in our body, and it kind of goes and floats off when we dream, but it comes always back anchored here. We can anchor it anywhere we want to. And so we're anchoring it now into Ukraine. And then from that position of present I am awareness, we visualize a dome, a huge dome stretching over the whole of the city. If we're praying for a particular city, I know Cash Peter said that he did this for Kyiv, and fill it with light, fill it with love. What did Wayne Dyer used to say? I attract only peace and peaceful people into my life. That's just come into my mind now as I said this. And so put that intention in there. Only peace and peaceful people into this zone. It's a force field, an angelic force field that we can create through our focused use of awareness. I did this a month or so ago for the town that I live in, when we had the warnings about this storm that was supposed to just hit Cornwall, and there's supposed to be roofs coming off and all kinds of things, and I was genuinely afraid. I was at home alone and the night that I went to sleep I was just visualizing a dome, and we have something called the Eden Project here in Cornwall, which are like big biodomes, and that's what I was envisaging. They're like sort of hexagons, all kind of tessellated, interconnecting, and that's what I was visualizing over the whole town. And as I walked around the next day, I was surprised. I was surprised at the lack of serious damage. I think my greenhouse door came off. That was about it, but nothing more serious than that. And other places got hit really hard, but amazingly, we were all right. So that was an occasion when I used it, and I've used it since. Cash Peter said he used it for Kyiv, and that was a couple of weeks ago, and it was at the time when that 40-kilometer long convoy of Russian tanks was heading to Kyiv, and then it just sort of stalled, and I don't know, had problems with fuel and getting stuck in the mud or whatever problems, but it didn't arrive. I don't think it's arrived even yet as I'm filming. So we can do that too. And you can just breathe and use the breath to extend the light, the force field, to strengthen the force field. See it getting brighter, knowing that you're filling it with love and peace. Only peace and peaceful people can enter this place. I'm getting tingles all around my head as I say this. Okay, I didn't even plan to use that quote. It came into my head. I did ask George to help me before I started. Have you noticed he's over there? Oh no, he's over this side. Yeah. And I said to him, we had a little word before, and I said, don't let me forget what I need to say. If there's anything I need to say when I'm explaining this, bring it to my mind. I'll just put it in there for now. And so, thank you, George. And for this wonderful, wonderful method that we can use that is powerful. It is powerful. So, if you're watching this video a long time after the current situation that we're in, when the war has ended, when there is peace on earth, you can use it in a different context. There'll always be something, won't there? There'll always be something that we need to pray for. Because we're in this place of duality. But get specific with it. Get specific with it. We can do it for the Russian people, the people of Russia. You could visualize Russia, and you could put this force field over it and just pour love and compassion. Flood it with love and compassion, so that the consciousness is not, I've said this so many times, we're not hermetically sealed. It's a sponge. Okay, so if we're flooding Russia with love, to Russia with love, then the people's hearts, they too might feel that courage, because it would take a lot of courage to say we want to choose love, not war. So have a go with it. Let me know in the comments how you get on, what you make of it, and keep praying. I'll just close one more time with that quote, and I'll perhaps read it a little bit further on to the end. And so, I kneel before the Father, from whom the whole family in heaven and earth derives its name, the I of Source, the I that is the ground of all being. I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your heart through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the saints to grasp how wide and how long and how high and how deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I haven't read that for a long time, and I'm thankful that came to my mind to share that today. Yeah. So touches of grace upon your day, and deepest peace through the night. Till next time, God bless.